course, had to stop for a view of the canyon before we ever even found our campsite and unhooked the camper.
Soaking in the views of the Grand Canyon for the first time from Desert View.
The first thing we did after unhooking the camper was ride our bikes over to Yavapai Lodge, which had a deli that served beer and wine, and we grabbed some lunch before going to the tavern once it opened for their full bar menu.
Biking along here, and we come up across this. I'm not sure what that is. What is this, babe?
I have no idea. They said there's a lot of elk here, but I don't know if that's an elk.
He's just chilling in the shade.
Hey, dude. What's up?
I didn't even see it. She pointed it out to me. Just chilling.
Yeah, he just tried to drive right by it. I was like, babe, stop. Look, there's this creature.
It's pretty crazy. It's cool. First wildlife right next to the visitor center. Pretty close. We found out they were in fact elk. We just did not expect them to look like that without their antlers. We also did not know that elk antlers shed or fall off and then come back. News to me. Learn new things every day. And now we're just welcoming some new neighbors. Howdy, neighbor. So cute. So I interrupt this regularly scheduled Grand Canyon post from somewhere other than the Grand Canyon, and pardon my quarantine hair, because yes, I am posting this video 2 years later during the middle of the COVID crisis. But here are a few tips for booking your stay at the Grand Canyon. There are quite a few lodges that are really, really cool and really nice if you do not have a camper or prefer to stay in more of a hotel-like setting, though they're very lodge-like, not hotel-like. However, if you are going to be taking your camper, plan ahead. We did everything kind of by the seat of our pants. We weren't sure where we would be from one time to the next, and so we couldn't really book too far ahead, but we had heard you really kind of need a date for the Grand Canyon because there is only one full hookup RV park within the Grand Canyon, and that is Trailer Village RV Park. It is actually a RV park run outside of the national park system, even though the park is in Grand Canyon National Park. They're just an outside company. They were really great to work with, but we could not find a campsite for the amount of nights we wanted to stay. So we kept looking, and what actually ended up working for us was we booked one night because it was the only night we could get. Then we kept looking. We booked 2 more nights, but they told us that we would most likely have to switch sites. But the way they worked it out, we actually never had to switch sites, but we did have to do 2 separate bookings. And when we got there, it took them a minute to find our reservation and find both of them, but we got them just fine and had our spot for the entire length of time we were there. So I would just keep trying if you're trying to book last minute. You just got to keep kind of messing around with the system. You have to be willing to book multiple stays and just book one night and then book 2 nights for a different site, and hopefully they'll work it out to where you don't have to switch sites. But we enjoyed our stay. The Grand Canyon was definitely more touristy, one of the most touristy parks we had been to, so definitely plan to try and go off season if you can, or just you have to just be prepared for crowds. They're going to be there because it's the Grand Canyon, but it was still so beautiful and awesome. And now back to the elk, who I didn't know were elk until I learned all about them while I was there. Elk visiting us for dinner. Trying to get some grass. 3 of them. It's pretty crazy. Say hi.
Hey, babe. During the time we were there, we spent the majority of the time doing bike rides along the rim and did one hike down to Ooh Ah Point, which is about 1.5 miles down into the canyon. until my knee completely gave out. And there was no more hiking after that. If you have a hard time with incline hiking, I definitely recommend trying the donkeys.
We made it to Canyon, and look, there's donkeys. Or mules. I guess they're mules because they're like, yeah. Hello. We made it.
And since my knee was basically out of commission after that, we spent the rest of our time exploring some of the lodges around the park and ended up at El Tovar Lounge, which was really nice inside as well, nice and rustic, but the perfect spot to enjoy a drink was outside on the porch with a perfect view of the canyon. If you liked this video, we would love it if you would click subscribe. Enjoy the journey!